Welcome back, everyone. So this is Indigenous-Blaxican in America, and this is a follow-up conversation from the time that we spoke several months back, and we were sharing about introductions, cultural backgrounds, and special interests. We will be doing that thoroughly in a future recording. We want to wait till we get some video images first because photos say a lot. And so I can picture, like, for example, myself showing you the hallway in my mom's house with all the photos and letting you know more about my background. I do have Andrea on the line, and she's going to give you a quick introduction of herself and my introduction, Gabby Santos, and just a bit about myself. I have Indigenous Mexican background with Filipino, so sometimes I say I'm Mexipina. Uh, and yeah, so I have invested many, many years in anti-oppression, anti-racism work in the line of anti-violence work, because when we work to end oppression, we are promoting violence-free communities. And by doing that, you're working against domestic violence, sexual assault, bullying, human trafficking, anything that's rooted in the ability to maintain power and control over someone due to your agency and power and privilege. We want to break away from that. And I'm a lover of power with models, not a power over model. So that's my little short introduction before we jump into today's topic. And I'll leave the floor to Andrea.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I am Andrea Roberts, and my pronouns are she, her. Um, my mother is Mexican. My father is Black Native American. My parents remarried to white people. Um, and I grew up in Woodburn, now live in Portland. Um, there's a lot to say. When I walk out the door, I'm perceived a certain way, look a certain way. And living that and the agency that I'm able to have and the power that I have, I've developed since I was really young. So I look forward to hearing your comments. I look forward to listening to Gavi's story and my story.
All right, thank you. So we're going to open up. And as we mentioned before, this is more of a conversation, even though we have Andrea is a Montessori school teacher, and I have extensive background in training, public speaking, education, presentations of all sorts. This is not it. This is really just having an authentic conversation. And this came about because we had conversations over the phone. I'm like, oh my gosh, if we could actually share these sound bites. And so here we are. It's just very casual. And today's topic is going to be, let's talk about those two videos that you sent me. And really, it opens up with someone from the African community saying, you know what, we're fed up with the Latino community. Now you're asking for our support, but where were you during Black Lives Matter and other movements that were specific to our communities? And yeah, so let's talk about that.
Yeah, great introduction. Yes, that is really the strong thing that's happening. And me, I look Black walking out the door. I'm not denying my Mexican heritage, and growing up in Woodburn, which is mostly Latino, white farm worker town. My stepfather's white. My mother is Mexican. And I have experienced racism on both sides, from the Latino community and from the Black people, and from white people. So when I see these marches and like how the Latino community wants Black people to like support them, it's like, you never were there. Now it's a convenience that you want my support when you have pressed Black people from days on end until now, and now you're crying. So to me, it's like a slap in the face.
Definitely. And this is why we welcome these type of conversations, because a lot of people might analyze it but never have a true to be conversation and work things out and learn how to be more supportive allies to other people of color. We need to do that, people. We need to. It might be a place of discomfort because you'd be like, oh, well, I should have done this better. And tell me more of what I should have done. And in that, you might feel a sense of feeling like you weren't supportive enough. And that feels icky, right? But it's a look and reflection at yourself to see like where you need to step it up more. And I totally agree with the people who were sharing opinions on this video and saying, whoa, how dare you tell us that we're not doing our job by stepping forward with these anti-immigration policies and being an advocate for immigration reform when you were never with us when our sons and our fathers, our families are still being murdered by law enforcement or people because of racism. So this is an opportunity to have these conversations and start healing, because in order to heal and in order to be more of a collective voice as a community of color to take on these larger systemic issues, we first have to name the violence, and starting from what is in our immediate community, right? Name the violence there. What does that look like? Well, hey, that's internalized racism. When I don't step up around a joke that's being said about other communities of color. And when I see that someone in my community is being hurt by law enforcement or by a neighbor simply because color of their skin, and if you're of a community of color that can pass and you're staying silent, you're actually contributing to that violence that you are witnessing. So these are just examples of ways to think on how you can be more supportive of your brothers and sisters and gender nonconforming folks as well in your community, other communities of color who need your support and who need you to step up and just activate that agency and that power and privilege that you might have as a light-skinned passing person, or as a person who has more socioeconomic status, or as a person who does speak English or has immigration status, has legal status here. Things to think about. So
Yeah, and also if your environment in your home and how you were raised to like look down upon, even though you're a person of color and you see another person of color, it's not quite your lineage, and because you were raised in your house and how you were, your environment, doesn't mean that it's okay. As an adult, you know better, and if not, find out and try to put yourself in their shoes if you can. Like, look at them in a different lens. It's like, yeah, the oppressor doesn't like both of us, so why am I going to add to the fire? Why am I going to add to this? Well, it doesn't happen to me attitude doesn't help anybody. If anything, be brave and educate your family and friends and those who have the ability to do something. Like, I'm not against like not supporting Latinos, but it's like when you are oppressive to my people and to other people, and like even the sexism, like I'm not gonna stand up for that. That is not okay. Whether you're black, white, or brown, it's still not okay.
and I love using parallels, right? Because when you use parallels, you get through someone who's struggling to make that connection. And I'm going to give you this parallel for those of you who are able-bodied women, let's just say. Let's think about in society, sometimes people think that women are a homogenous group, and we truly aren't. And so if you have two women and one of them has a disability, the other person, the other woman, is able-bodied, what agency or what power and privileges does the able-bodied woman have, right? So think about how this woman can navigate her day with these privileges. For example, going through to a conference and she doesn't have to call in advance to see if it's wheelchair accessible, right? Or if she wants to apply for an apartment and she doesn't have to have that tough conversation with her landlord or potential landlord about the need for accessibility within her home and the fear of being screened out just because she has that legal right to ask. So do you see here now, some people see communities with disabilities, people living with disabilities, of having more compassion for them. And so they're able to make that connection. Oh yeah, I'm a woman who is able-bodied. Now I need to be more mindful of being an ally to other women with disabilities. So I ask you to use that same lens and reflection upon yourself and your power and privileges when it comes to race and ethnicity, when it comes to skin color and cultural patterns. So you might have two people of color, right? In the general umbrella term of that collective voice, people of color, but you have an African American, you have a Latino community, and two distinct individuals. And one of them is lighter skin. And you look at cultural patterns, and maybe the Latino has assimilated to cultural patterns that are more palatable to the white person. So think about, I can go on and giving examples, but I dare you to give yourself that self-reflection and take it a step further, just as you would for a person with disability. You as an able-bodied person, have that lens when it comes to race and ethnicity. How can you be a better ally to people from communities of color that you call your brother and sister? How can you be better allies to them by looking at your power and privileges and their experiences in America versus yours? Okay.
Yeah, and just getting yourself out of the comfort zone that you've had all your life. Like, put yourself in their shoes. And that could be starting with your friends and family, your workplace, because not everybody was born with the same abilities or the same I don't know, the same accommodations or privileges. I say that within the Black community, and when I cross over to the Latino community, like my part of my identity, like I also call myself a Blaxican because I'm Black and Mexican. So in certain communities, it's like, oh, you're Black. I'm like, no, my mom is Mexican, so I'm actually Mexican. Or when I'm in a Mexican community, oh, you're Black, or you don't like just assuming that I don't know anything about being Latina. So I'm saying putting yourself, if you can, in both of those worlds, or just see what that experience could be like.
And I thank you for saying that. And I want to step into more of our relationship, Andrea, and the fact that we connected right when we met, back in
Oh
grade
my
school.
gosh.
and, and I know, and we were drawn to each other, one, because we both were experiencing adversity within a scholastic setting that wasn't the most inclusive, right? And so we supported each other. And at the same time, we challenged ourselves by looking at not only commonalities and ways of support, but also the differences and those places of discomfort as our friendship grew, and being okay with that discomfort and calling each other out where needed. We've grown to now decades of friendship and being better allies for each other. Being a better ally for my LGBT status, me being a better ally for you and your African American experiences within Oregon white world, right? And realizing that colorism is real, and even within the Latino community, your experiences are different than mine. So and you being sensitive also and welcoming and inclusive, by far, for my cultural patterns as a Latino community, that even though you identify also within the Latino community, our socioeconomic status was quite different, right? And so uh, you had more access to educational resources than I did. I had to really struggle to get there and to make my way. But, so these are the things, and this is the beauty of it. I feel like we live in a culture of, we're so afraid to do the work. We want everything to be easy. And I think ego comes into it as well, where people who hold power and privilege get blinded by that ego and that entitlement. You're so used to not sharing resources, not sharing space. But if you decenter yourself for someone who has less power and privilege than you, then wow, you know what? You're going to make your life more resourceful, because you're robbing yourself of that opportunity to learn from someone that you may have not had access to their culture, to their heritage, to their music, their food, their way of living. Spice it up, people. Open up your world. If you're living just with communicating within your own immediate race and ethnicity, I don't know. Are you a true foodie? Are you a true traveler? Are you a person who really is open to different experiences? I think not.
Yes, Gabi, thank you for the recap. Yeah, way back when we were, was it, gosh, middle school, or I forget. Anyways, when I first saw you, I like, oh, she's cool. She has curly hair like me. Oh my
Yeah.
God. and a whole stream of white people, Mexican people that had all straight hair, and you were brown. And like, to me, it's like you didn't like follow the rules. So it's like,
No.
oh my gosh, he's like me. Like she doesn't follow the rules, and she looks like me, and she's Mexican like me. So I instantly was drawn to the fact that you did not conform. You were your true, authentic self. Whatever we knew about that back then, you know, being children. Um, and our parents' work, it kind of like some of it collided, like what my stepfather did, you know, and in Woodburn, and that community of Mexican people. Um, and my mom is Mexican, but not the traditional Mexican, as you would say, for most traditional Latino homes. Um, yeah, it's like I just like, you know what, she's my sister, you know, done deal. Like if she doesn't like me, that's, you know, hey, I like me enough to be in this white school, not speak very good Spanish, not be able, like being able to like fit into Woodburn was like, it was a challenge. But so thank you for being there. Like you were like my stone, like just all right, you know, this is gonna work.
You and I
And I
both.
love you for that, and thank you.
Oh, I love you, and I can't see myself living without you. I mean, these are the things that you've challenged me, and at the same time you have validated me. And this is a place where I encourage all of my nephews and nieces and everybody around me. I'm like, don't rob yourself from these type of experiences early on in life, because the more you adapt them early on in life, the more decades of reinforcement that you will get. And man, that is an enriching experience. And I would say that my health is better for that, because, and scientifically, this is true. The CDC says this, that a protective factor is authentic community. So for those of you out there living in social media world where all your friends are online and you're just living for likes and this and that, is that truly authentic? And how is that really fortifying you? No, you need relationships that are authentic and that are inclusive of all of your identities, and you need to reciprocate that to the people you love as well, and grow that love. So I thank you, Andrea, and I love you truly. And here we are having this conversation, right? And I feel that this is going to be a resource for many.
Yeah, and it's like the fact that you had a traditional Mexican home. It's like when you would invite me to your house, your family functions. I'm like, here I'm with all these questions. My mom was a feminist, like, you know, about equality, women first, and all of those things. And I'm like, I think you remember, like, I'm like, why are the men over here and the women over here? And I'm like, I don't understand. And so you being there to tell me this is why this is happening. And I asked my mom. She's like, "Oh yeah, you finally had your turn, huh? Okay, are you okay?" She's like, "Are you okay?" She's like, "I shielded you from that. I did not want you. You. No woman should ever have to like." And my mom was like, "Yeah, that is not okay. No, no one should ever grow up that way." And then you telling me, so basically it's like, oh, okay, so this happens here. This is not every Mexican household, but like, what are the commonalities? People are getting together, they're there for a reason. It's There's children, like there's food happening. I'm a big foodie, so it's like, okay, so yeah, there you definitely, we had a lot of things in common, a lot of things uncommon, but like we were able to mesh them together and be who
Yes.
we are today and in our lives and our world. Like, yeah, we took a break from each other, you know, and we found each other again. So we'll go into that later. But yeah, definitely, like Avi said, explore, live outside the box, meet people who are not your same, how you grew up. It's like you learn so much more. It adds to the friendship, and it's so powerful.
Yeah, and this is and I don't know how many of you out there know about Paulo Freire, but he was a philosopher on education, and he talked about popular education. And to this day now, his teachings are very effective when teaching in community, because it's like you use the resource of the community. It's not like the traditional, you regurgitate what you learned in school to the audience or to your student, and that's it. It's one-sided. No, you know, this popular education model really challenges you to, as the educator, to use the resource of the whole room. And in our case, in terms of relationships, using that popular education to support relationship, we did that because we would use each other as a resource. And so that experience, that story that you shared in terms of me inviting you over to my family and for dinner, and what you saw, true impact of the effects of sexism, right? And at the intersections of the Latino community. And over the years, our conversation that sparked there, you were freaked out and you told your mom, you came back, you told me, that sparked something in me. And I believe I was like 12 years old at the time, can't remember, somewhere around there. And so yeah, at that time I was already challenging myself and my society around that, and asking those questions. Why do we do this, right? Why is it that we're doing this? And over time those conversations rippled out, and now I have uncles helping to cook in the kitchen, and we don't eat like that anymore. Everybody eats at the same time, and you can eat wherever you want to eat, not just like the women in the kitchen and the male hang out in the garage and the children, everywhere they want, but they eat first, and then the men eat second and the women eat last. No, all of that was eradicated. I'm going to say it's been a good 20 years. So yeah, thank you, Andrea, for putting that seed and planting that seed. And your mom also, for those of you who don't know, Andrea's mom has a book. And so you can look it up. You can get it in Powell's bookstore, Amazon, whatnot. And so she really talks about the Latino community and the dynamics there, and what led her to be a union organizer. It's a really good book, entertaining, facts and validation, everything, funny even. So, so one day, mija, you will know the difference between a whore and a working woman. It's a great book, fascinating in every way. So there's my plug-in. Yvonne, love you. I love you. And so, yeah, no, these are the things, and inviting people to your world, you stepping out and taking that risk and going to places that aren't the norm for you, and becoming a new you, a more welcoming, inclusive, happy you. So I'm going to say that I'm at a good place. I'm at a good place. And if I were to die tomorrow, you know what? I'm well traveled. I'm well engaged with different relationships. I don't regret anything. I'm even in my dating, I've dated people from different races and ethnicities, and I don't regret anything, even those heartaches. Thank you, Jesus, on that.
Well said, Gabi. That within, there's so many layers of what you just said that we could dive off into, and we'll save those surprises for another time.
Yes.
But definitely thanks for being here, and yeah, watching this friendship has developed, gosh, decades, and it's been beautiful. This is a great platform, and yes, we can share our conversations that we've had here, and it's really enriching and rewarding, and I love doing it.
And I thank you, Andrea. And this is good. And this will be airing. We can't promise when we're going to get together because we both live very vibrant lives. And as you know, in my profile, I don't keep my phone with me all the time because I like the autonomy of being free from technology when I'm out and about. But I'll do stuff like this every now and then. And Andrea, we will do it again. I'm hoping that next time we could do some video and we can share photos of our background. What do you think about that?
Absolutely love it. Will do.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye.